Skip it up and that up. So I'm sure if you've watched other YouTubers like Spunwave Media and RGT85 where you pay attention to gaming news, you know that Nintendo stock has taken a nosedive. As of now, it is down 34% from its peak in March 2018. And the nosedive in stock prices seems to coincide with E3 2018. That's when we started to see it take huge drops, like 5% drops in a day. And a lot of people are speculating that investors were very disappointed. Like the stock started dropping before Nintendo's E3 presentation, and people were speculating that investors got word that it was going to be a weak E3, that they weren't going to show that many new games. And a lot of investors, took their money out of Nintendo because they were panicking, which investors often do. Well, those investors seem to be panicking for no reason because according to GameStop, Switch sales doubled the week after E3. This is what Vice President of Merchandising Eric Bright had to say about the Switch sales jumping after Nintendo's E3 presentation. Nothing beats Nintendo's overall performance. Super Smash Bros. Is jumping right up to the top of the pre-order list. We're also seeing great reaction from Pokemon Let's Go. Both SKUs, and then of course people are trying to get their hands on the Pokeball controller as well. Nintendo fans are definitely reacting. Now I'm going to keep it real with you. A lot of people, including me, thought Nintendo's E3 2018 presentation, well, it sucked. A lot of the third-party games they showed we already knew about. There wasn't too many surprises. We knew that Fortnite was coming to the Switch, and I could give a flying crap about Fortnite. And many people agree that they went on about Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch for way, way, way too long. Hey, look, they convinced me to buy it. I even said it during the E3 presentation. I was like, wow, that looks like it may actually be fun. I'm not a huge Super Smash Bros. Fan. I very rarely played it in the past, but I'm going to pick it up for the Switch. But they did not need to make like 70% of their E3 presentation about it. I'm just pulling a percentage out of my ass, but it was too long. They should have showed other stuff. And the complaint I had when they were showing all the Super Smash Bros. Features is that they were just doing fan service. They weren't showing things to bring in new customers. But what's interesting is that I think a lot of people were waiting to buy a Nintendo Switch until they saw something about Super Smash Bros. Or Pokemon, because look here, look at what GameStop's saying. They're like, hey, they showed Super Smash Bros. They showed the game is definitely coming to the Switch and they're going all out, and the Switch sales doubled. So what that tells me is that there's a lot of people who may just buy a Nintendo console for Smash, and when they saw that Smash is coming to the system, they went out and they bought it, and they pre-ordered the game. And to ease the fears of investors even more, outgoing president Tatsumi Kimishima over at Nintendo said that the fall lineup for the Nintendo Switch is going to be very strong. Kimishima said that these upcoming powerful quote-unquote games for the Nintendo Switch will be announced at the appropriate time, but they will be released this holiday season. I guess Nintendo felt it was more appropriate to show off Super Smash Bros. At E3 2018 before it felt like an infinite amount of time, but whatever. Kimishima saying, hey, look, investors, hey, look, consumers, don't worry. There are plenty of more games coming. We're going to announce them soon or at an appropriate time. Not sure what that means, but okay, good. They're coming out with more games for the Switch this year. So we got a bunch of good news here. What the hell is going on? Why are investors freaking out and taking their money out of Nintendo? Paul Tassi, who actually wrote the article I've listed below in the description over at Forbes, he brings up an interesting point. One, investors aren't rational actors. They're very afraid of losing money, and they're idiots sometimes. And if they even catch wind of some unofficial news that the company they're invested in, they may take a nosedive. They bail ship quickly, even if there's nothing backing the information that they received. They're just like, oh my God, I'm out. I'm taking my money out. I'm short, and I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm not losing money. And it's also vice versa too. If they think there's good news, even if there's nothing to back up that good news, they'll invest in a company and they'll be super excited. And Paul actually brings up a good example here. Remember with Pokemon Go for smartphones, everyone's like, oh, the game is blowing up in 2016. It's doing great. Nintendo's going to make a ton of cash. And no one sat down and looked and said, oh, crap. Nintendo doesn't own the full Pokemon IP. They're only making a fraction of the money off of the app. But investors got super excited about it, and it was an emotion-based investment, and Nintendo stock went up even though the game really didn't make Nintendo that much money. So that's how investors work. That's how investments work. And what sucks is that even if there's nothing backing up investors bailing from Nintendo or whatever other corporation they're invested in, it makes the company look bad. And that's why you have like Nintendo president, or soon to be outgoing president, Tatsumi Kimishima, come out saying, hey, look, we got other games coming. Chill out. The Switch is going to be fine. I don't really know how much it's going to do. He's trying to damage control, but I also believe him too. I'm sure we're going to see other games coming from the Nintendo Switch that will be pretty exciting. So what's my take on all this? Do I think investors have a justified reason for being afraid in taking their money out of Nintendo? I don't think so. I really do think that they freaked out over the E3 presentation and they thought that people are going to be disheartened by the Nintendo Switch. I personally was disappointed with Nintendo's E3 presentation, but doesn't mean I don't enjoy the system. No, I have the Switch right here, right next to me right now. I was just playing Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus on it. So unless there's some information that you and I and all of these journalists don't know about that's going on behind the scenes that investors know about, like, man, Switch sales took a nosedive and Nintendo's not releasing numbers yet, but they know about it, which can happen, or maybe there's something else going on behind the scenes with leadership over at Nintendo, maybe with Shigeru Miyamoto or whatever the case may be, that the investors know that we don't know yet. And everything they know, we know, and what we're seeing at face value is all that's going on. Yeah, it's a bunch of antsy investors that just are nervous, who didn't want to lose money. And let's face it, after what happened with the Wii U, you're going to have a bunch of very nervous investors because people are afraid that things could turn a complete 180 for Nintendo again and the Switch could turn into the Wii U. I don't see that happening, but after the disaster that the Wii U was, yeah, investors, they're going to be looking closely at Nintendo and they're going to overanalyze everything that's going on. But do I think you should be worried about the Nintendo Switch? I don't think so. As of now, I think everything's fine. I think the system is going to be fine. The only thing I'm somewhat concerned about is I would love to see more third-party games come at the same time they come to other consoles. I understand the Switch can't get every game that the PS4 and Xbox One and PC get because it's not as powerful. But when it does, it would be nice to see it come out at the same time, not like 6 months later or whatever the case may be. That would definitely help Switch sales. And I still like the Switch. I think it's a great system, and I think it has a bright future. This is Rich, Review Tech USA, signing out. Have a good one.